everybody. My name is Rain. I am a spike tester. I will be telling you everything that you need to know before Spiked releases, since the announcement for the release was within the next 7 days, which does not mean that it will be on December 1st. Everybody who says, oh, they're going to wait 7 days is said within. So that means anywhere from tomorrow, which for me would be Monday, when this video comes out. It might be Monday already, but it should be within Monday to Saturday, which is the 30th. So things that I'm gonna start with right now is build customization. So your character height range is gonna go 5 foot, which is gonna give you the most amount of float, the most amount of speed, and the most amount, or not the most amount, but the least amount of jump power. The biggest that you can go within Spiked is going to be 7 foot, which is going to give you the most amount of jump power, the least amount of speed, and the least amount of float. If you guys want me to go more into depth on builds and build customization, I can make a whole separate video for that. Builds that would be good for each section of, spiker, setter, libero, middle blocker, whatever you guys want. But yeah, that's just a general knowledge of it. It's just 5 foot to 7 foot. And yeah, so next are gonna be weapons. So weaponless, you have for spiking or hitting, you have Blockbreaker, which has a cooldown of 80 seconds. You have Powerful, which is a cooldown of 30 seconds. And you have Ricochet, which is a cooldown of 30 seconds again. So the only one that really has a gimmick to it is Blockbreaker. And basically, as it says, you block or you break their block. You have to have full charge and aim at their hands or fingers in order to activate a block break. So yeah, next weapons are blocking. So you have things like Iron Wall, which has a cooldown of 10 seconds. You have Immovable, which has a cooldown of 100 seconds. And you have Soft Touch, which has a cooldown of 40 seconds. Iron Wall has a bigger hitbox of 20%, while Immovable has basically an impenetrable block. Blockbreaker can't go through it, and yeah, nothing can really go through it. Soft Touch, Block Break also can't go through this. It will just soft touch it away, and it's really good. I would recommend using it. The next is setting. So you have Minus Tempo, which has a cooldown of 40 seconds. You have Conductor, which has a cooldown of 20 seconds, and you have Perfect Toss, which is a cooldown of 20 seconds. Minus Tempo, it's just pretty much an instant set. I'll show some clips, maybe of it in a later video, or I might show it here soon if I can get the clip for it. But it is basically just an instant set. Conductor is 20% more power. In order to activate Conductor, your spiker has to have full power, and you have to activate the weapon as you set it. And Perfect Toss is it makes it easier for the spiker to hit. So if the ball is behind the spiker, it'll just make it easier, or it'll basically make it so that the hitbox is bigger enough for him to spike it. In order to activate this weapon, you just activate it and then set it. Receiving, you have Safeguard, which has a cooldown of 10 seconds, Guardian, which has a cooldown of 10 seconds, and Easy Receive, which has a cooldown of 10 seconds. Safeguard gives you 20% more hitbox on regular receives, which is basically holding M2 and clicking. And Guardian has a 20% more hitbox on your dive, which is just hitting Q without your M2 and M1, which that's all it is. It just gives you 20% more hitbox on your dives. Easy receive makes all of your receives go up 30% higher. It's pretty good if you want to slow down the momentum of a game. And next we have serving. So you have hybrid serve, which has a cooldown of 5 seconds. You have float, which has a cooldown of 20 seconds. So hybrid serve basically switches the animation of your serve, so you can have the M1 or float variation out, and it'll do the M2 or jump serve variation. Basically all it does is it just confuses the enemy. And float is whenever the weapon is active, jump float serves change direction more frequently. So what this means is that if you jump and hit a float serve normally, it could be really sporadic, but if you do it with float in general, it'll be super sporadic. You know, like you might not know if it goes out or goes in. And next you have your utility sections. Utility has quick step, which is a cooldown of 15 seconds, and boom jump, which is a cooldown of 5 seconds. So quick step gives you a burst of speed. It's low seconds, it's about 3 seconds worth of speed, and it gives you a 35% boost. Boom jump it just makes you jump higher, and it gives you a little bit less float too on top of that. Shorter players jump higher, and it's less effective with the tall players. So I would not use this if you're over like 6'6". As for the little things that you can do within the game, you can feint within the game. So if you hold M1 and M2 at the same time, you can feint. All it does is it gives the ball just a little arc in the air to go over the block. You can also aim the feint higher or lower. People do not know this, but if you aim the feint straight down, it'll still have that arc, but it'll go down really quick. So it's a little disorienting for other people to see while they're going against you. But I wouldn't do this against an immovable, because you will hit that immovable and it will be sent straight down to the ground. For immovable, I would aim a lot higher and go over their block. It's just what you can do with the feints. Setting, you use F and R. So it's a lot like Volleyball 4.2 with that aspect, F and R. But setting is way different in 4.2. If you've ever seen any clips of someone set within Spike, you basically, the higher that you look, the more high that the ball goes. The lower that you look, the lower the ball goes. That's the easiest way to describe it. The same goes for setting backwards or hitting R. The higher that you look, the higher that the ball goes. The lower that you look, the lower the ball goes. The more power that you put into the set, the faster it goes. The less faster it goes, right? It's pretty easy to describe. It's gonna be new to if you're a setter, or if you want to be a setter in Spiked, it's gonna be new to you. You can do both ground sets or jump sets. Both are very useful. and have a purpose. So with setter dumping, usually setter dumping is either pressing F or R and just flicking over the net to dump it, or just spiking the ball over the net in that setting. Receiving, if anyone watched Eddie's video, go sub to Eddie. Watch his video on his, spiked release. But he goes into depth about receiving in VBA and the differences. It is very similar to VBA, so I would practice in VBA with setting, or not setting, but receiving and spiking. But I would focus on with receiving. You can look down and have the ball go shorter in the air, or you could look up and have it go super high. It's whatever you guys really like to do receiving, but I would play around with it just to figure out the mechanics. So diving is directional. So basically, you can hold WA and go left, WD, go right, S and A, and S and D. So it's all directional. Or you can flick your camera if you want to be that guy. Blocking is a little weird in this game. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little hard to block in spiked. You guys are gonna have to get used to it. You guys are gonna have to time your jump to a T, or else you will get wiped. You can also release block if you don't want to get wiped, but there is no telltale sign of this guy's gonna wipe or not, so it's kind of hard. But I would just suggest, just playing the game, learning it step by step, and getting used to blocking. Just think of blocking as, when would I hit that spike? And that's how you block. You can also, with jumps, you do have enough time where you can jump very quick, and if it's a high, you can re-jump. So that is something that people do a lot. And it's something that you should, fool around with yourself. So with serving, to spawn a ball, you press B. Serving has two sides to it. You have the M1 side and the M2 side. M1 side is a float serve. All that means is that once you hit it, it's going to go sporadic, so you want to aim a little bit higher than your jump serve, and you want to make sure that you're hitting it with enough power, because if you don't, it could go straight down onto your side of the court. M2 serving, it's kind of the same concept as 4.2, not really. You hit M2, you have it in your hand, you throw it up to a height that you like, and you run up and hit it. You can do curves with the M2. It's directional, so A and D. So if you hit D while M2 serving, you will do a curve to the right shot. It's not going to be a super large curve, but it's enough to have effect on the field. Same with the left, it's enough. And you have vaulting in the game. You just run up to the blue I don't know what to call them, stands or whatnot, and you will vault it. You just run into it, it'll automatically vault. Stamina, you just recharge with V. You have a lot of stamina. You're never gonna really lose stamina in this game, unless they add a fatigue system, which they might. So, Spiked in itself is a faster paced game. You guys have been seeing the gameplay that I'm using in the background of this video. It's going to be faster. It's going to be more hectic, and really just going. You're never really gonna stop, and unless you call it timeout. A very hectic game, but it's very fun. Um, you guys in scrims, there are set rules that might release as soon as the game releases. But it's basic volleyball rules. Must have 6 on the court. If you don't have 6 on the court, you kind of just lose. If they don't show up within 15 minutes, the game is forfeited. And yeah, so each time that you don't have a 5th player on the court, you lose a point until, or a 6th player, until you get that 6th player. It's just basic volleyball rules. If you guys don't know volleyball rules, look them up. I mean, it's not hard to learn. You have stuff like 4-touch, double touch. You have bullets in this where a ball is spawned before and hit in the 5 seconds. If it's before 5 seconds, I should say. If it's after 5 seconds, it's fine. You have 13 seconds in total, 5 seconds to spawn, 13 seconds to actually spike, or serve the ball, I should say. And yeah, I mean, it's just normal league rules, no macros. You have to stay in rotation in here. Rotation is key within Spiked. If you don't know your rotation and you're out of rotation, it is a point every single time until it is fixed. And yeah, I mean, everything is the same. Liberos can set behind the line. They must jump behind the line. And as right now, these are the weapon rules for League and Spiked. I don't know, these are subject to change, but as of right now, these are what they are. For Blockbreaker, you can have 1 per team. Ricochet is 2 per team. Immovable is 1 per team. Soft Touch is 2 per team. Minus Tempo is 1 per team. Perfect Toss is 1 per team. Conductor is 1 per team. Boom Jump is 3 per team. Iron Wall is 2 per team. Powerful is 2 per team. If any other weapon that you know of that wasn't called out in that list, it is available to use. So use it if you want to. Anybody can have that weapon. So the next thing that you're gonna want to learn, and this is something that you guys can watch a video on or search up by yourself, formations. So I know that NA, a lot of NA teams like to use 4-2, which is 4 hitters and 2 setters. Usually someone will sub out a setter for a libero and just out or over rotate the libero and the setter, which means so the setter would be in the middle, the libero would be in the middle, and whoever is on the right and left just rotate over the libero without them rotating. So that's just 4-2, and 5-1 will basically be 5 hitters and 1 setter. Everybody rotates. You will have a libero on with 5-1. It could be a libero, but they could sub out for a middle. A lot of things can happen with 5-1. But yeah, basic calls within the game for 4-2 that you might hear. You might hear brought out, brought in, V1, V2. You might hear, let's see here, a medium. That's just basic calls. Brought out and brought in, basically all those mean are just quicks, and you'll jump outwards or jump in to hit those. And V1 is the setter will set it directly above him, just a short amount so you can instantly hit it off of his hands. And V2 will be setter setting it higher off of him, or above him, so that you can delay the hit until they jump first. So a medium is just a basic medium. It's a faster type of high, pretty much. Calls for 5-1 that you might hear are high, quick, medium, pipe, jungle. You might hear all of those, or you might hear V1 or V2. Those are all calls that you can do with 5-1. A lot more than what 4-2 has, and that's why I think 5-1 is most likely going to take over. Literally everybody on EU, Asia, OCE, they all use 5-1. So I think 5-1's going to take over. I think it is the better option in this game, personally. But it's whatever your team likes and feels. So whatever they want to use, they can use. And that pretty much goes it for everything that you need to know about Spiked. There's not much, honestly, that is gonna change the game. I could make a separate video when the game comes out on how to do some things, but all in all, go train on VBA with your spiking, your receives, and everything else within the game is just gonna be an experience for you guys. So I'm excited for you guys to play, and thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you have a lovely day.
Yeah, I know that.
Over.
Over again. High out.
There you
Nice.
go.